Welcome to the 13th video of the lecture series Optimization using Excel. And in this video, we will try to discuss the various types of network flow problems. And at the end of the video, we will see how to use the SUMIF function in Excel. Those who are wondering that what is the relation between SUMIF function and network flow models can understand that at the end of the video very well. So basically, if you see the network flow models, there are four types of network flow models that are possible. And the first one is shortest path model. And let me tell you one thing, in this video, we are not trying to solve any problem. I am just giving an introduction of these four types of network models. So this is the purpose of this particular video. In the next video, we will solve this. So first of all, let us understand what is the shortest path problem. In a shortest path problem, you see this is the network as I have given here, and these are the nodes. These are the nodes. You have already seen nodes in your transportation problems and transshipment problems. Here also, these are the same things. And nodes are basically, it will be a center or any location from which flow will happen. Okay, so the arrowheads are the connectivities. Connectivities between two nodes. And the numbers given with each arrow are the costs. Now we are talking about costs, but it can be distance also. It can be time as well. So distance, time, and cost will all be equivalent in this type of problem. I mean, in shortest path problem. And see, another interesting fact is that we have two types of nodes. One is the source node, which is 0, and another one is the sink node. What is a sink node? Sink node is where the flow will terminate. But here you see, I have not shown any particular sink node here. It is blank. So this is one property of your shortest path problem, that is sink node has to be provided to you. You know the source node very well, that from where the flow is going to start, but you don't know the sink. Means the sink will be given to you by the problem statement. So this is it. That is what is written here. For a given sink, we need to know the shortest path from the source. So we need to derive a path from 0 to the sink. What is the sink? That will be given to you. It can be 4, it can be 3, or 1, 2, 5 also. Whatever it is, our job is to find the shortest path from 0 to that point, that node. And by shortest path means, shortest means minimum cost or minimum distance or minimum time. Okay, so therefore what is the outcome? Outcome or the objective is the one, not objective, the outcome is basically the one single optimal path joining source and sink. That will give us the minimum cost or distance or time. And to solve this, we can use heuristic approach. Dijkstra or Bellman-Ford algorithms are there. These are the heuristic approach to solve shortest path problem. But this type of approaches we will not discuss in this course, because this is a course primarily focused on LP and NLP, and hence therefore the second method, optimization models, is the integer programming that we will discuss. So that is all about shortest path problems. Now come to the maximal flow problem. Maximal flow problem, the network diagram is almost similar. It looks similar to the shortest path problem, but it is not actually the same. What is maximum flow? Maximum flow is, suppose two nodes are given. One is your source node, another one is your sink node. I want to know what is the maximal flow possible starting from here and ending here. In other words, what is the maximum flow that is possible out of this sink node using any path. Using any path here, you can use any path, but what is the maximum flow possible? That is the primary question here. And here these numbers, in case of shortest path problem, it was the cost figures, and this time this is not cost, this time this is capacity of each arc. So for example, this is 6, that means from 3 to 6 maximum 6 units can flow. So this is the interpretation. So what is the task? Task is for a given sink and source pair, we need to know the maximum flow possible, the maximum flow that is possible between these two. And what is the outcome? The outcome is basically the maximum flow that is coming out of this sink node. That is the maximum flow. And the method, heuristic method is, there is one Ford-Fulkerson's algorithm that can be used in order to solve the max flow problem, which we will not discuss. As I have mentioned earlier, that in this course we are focusing primarily on optimization models, and hence again we will solve this using linear programming. So please note that in case of shortest path, the optimization model was integer programming, and in this case we will use linear programming. The next one is your minimum spanning tree. What is a minimum spanning tree? It is actually very different from the earlier two cases, shortest path or maximum flow. In this case, there will be a network given to you, and the network is similarly composed of nodes and arcs as it is shown here. First of all, you see these arcs are not directed, means there is no arrowhead on the arcs. That means it is just a connection between two nodes. There is no direction. Directions are not important in this case. So, in case of minimum spanning tree, undirected, we are discussing undirected minimum spanning tree. So, our objective here is, what is the objective? Basically, the problem is like this: there is no source or sink in this case. There is no source of sink, only some nodes are there, and we need to cover each node of this network with a disjoint network. What is disjoint? It is not disjoint actually, it should be joint. This is written something, some error is there. It is joint network. Joint means what? The network should not be cut from somewhere. It is a continuous network. So for example, see, they have formed this particular network. It is not discontinuous. Each node is connected to other node in some way or the other using this particular network, and it is not cut in some way. So that is why it is a joint network. And what is the outcome? Outcome is obviously the minimum cost spanning tree network. This bold line, this bold line as it is seen here, this is called this minimum, the spanning tree. And our job here is to find the minimum cost spanning tree. Method here, heuristic method is Kruskal's algorithm and Prim's algorithm. Using these two algorithms, primarily we solve this type of minimum cost spanning tree networks, and optimization models are also available in terms of integer programming, but those are really complex and not very useful. The heuristic methods are quite robust in order to find optimal solutions, and optimization models are not very useful, and that is why we are not going to discuss this anyway in our course, because this is an again I am saying repeatedly that this is an optimization model course, and therefore we are not focusing our attention towards the heuristic methods, and hence since no good optimization model or simpler optimization models are available for minimum spanning tree, we are not discussing this type of problem at all in this course. Okay, so the final problem is traveling salesman problem. What is that? The traveling salesman problem is, let us understand this very well. From the picture, it seems that it is like the minimum spanning tree, but which is not correct. It is not the minimum spanning tree. What is happening here is, suppose a person is starting from a particular node, he must visit all the other nodes in a cyclic manner. That means starting from 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 5, 3, and then return to 1. So see, in case of minimal spanning tree, this type of cyclic nature of the tree was not available. The nodes were connected, but the nature of network was not cyclic or round. There is no roundness in case of spanning tree networks. But in case of traveling salesman problem, it is obvious that it has to be a round path. That means a cyclic path, which leads to this conclusion that every node will have only one inlet and one outlet, one entry and one exit specifically, which is not true for the spanning tree networks. So that is what is written here, you can read. And the outcome is minimum cost TSP network. So you can see here, you can join these things anyway. Suppose 1, 3, 7, 5, 6, 4, 2, 1. In this way also you can join. But the objective is to find the minimum cost TSP network. And so again, there are two types of approaches, heuristic approaches. There are so many heuristic approaches. One among them is nearest neighbor algorithm. And the optimization models, there are two types of optimization models. One is nonlinear. That we will see when we will discuss nonlinear programming, which we have not discussed so far. So there is another model called integer programming model for traveling salesman problem, but that is little complex and should not come under the purview of this course. So, in summary, so as we have already mentioned in the earlier portion of the video, we will discuss a particular function called SUMIF in this case. So why we are doing this? Because you may say that what is the relation between a particular function and a network flow model? So the relation is this. mm, when we will solve this shortest path and max flow problems, the nature of the spreadsheet model will not be the standard format of LP that we have discussed so far, because we can do that also, but if we do that, it will look very filthy, and like it will not be handy also. It will be difficult to manage, it will be too large, and will not look very good. So there is a particular format, good format, which we will use, tabular format, that will be more helpful. And that format will look something like this. This is just part of that. And you will get to know why the SUMIF function will be useful in that case. So now let us first see how to write the SUMIF function. So consider this diagram. You have already seen this diagram in the shortest path slide of the slides. So, and now this time please assume that everything else is there. These numbers 13, 16, 10, these numbers are flow units, the actual flow units that is happening from one node to the another node. So for example, from 0 to 2, 13 units are uh, flowing. From 0 to 1, 16 units are flowing, like that. So, and this information I have written here in terms of this table. See here, from 0 to 1, 16 unit flows. From 0 to 2, 13 units is flowing. From 1 to 2, 10 units are flowing. From 1 to 2, from 1 to 2, 10 units are flowing. From 2 to 1, from 2 to 1, 4 units are flowing. In this way, the entire table covers the entire diagram. Okay, now what I want to achieve here? I want to achieve here, suppose somebody asks me that what is the total flow from 2. So uh, I am not a fool, so I can do this sum of total flow from 2 is this 2. Everybody knows. You see from 2 only these two entries are there, so obviously 4 plus 14 is 18. No problem, excellent, and this is also a correct answer. But the problem is this: suppose I say you that there are 35 nodes of like this, or 70 nodes, 100 nodes are there. Will you calculate this sum function for every node individually? Is that a possibility? Yes, it is a possibility, but it is a kind of unsmart way of doing things. So sum if function gives you an opportunity to generalize the model, so that if you write one sum if function in one particular node, you can copy that down. So this copying and paste is very important. We have already learned these things in case of sum product function that we have already discussed in other models, like in our product mix model or the blending model. Sum if function is also used for the same purpose, that so that you can copy it and still you don't lose the model functionality. So how to write a sum if function? So see, the first argument of sum if function is range. What range? This range is your from range. That means this from column. You select this from column and you have to make this fixed in all practical cases. May not be here in this particular sheet, but when we will solve the problem, we have to make sure that this is fixed, because this particular uh, array or range will be common to all the nodes. So therefore you have to make this fixed, and you know how to fix this using f4 function. So we have already discussed that. And next argument is criteria. What is criteria? Criteria is based on which criteria the summing will be done. What is a criteria here? So criteria is nothing but 2. Basically, we want to know the flow from 2. So criteria is 2. Either you write 2 here or just give the location of B13. B13 here, the 2 number is there. It is not visible due to this function, but otherwise this is it. B13 and then the last argument is sum range. What is sum range? The sum is to be done from which column? Which is column? This column. So this will be also fixed, C2 to C11 and bracket close. So now please again look at this function. A2 to A11 is your node from nodes. B13 is your criteria, that is the node number, and C2 to C11 is the flow. So basically you are giving the argument to the sum if function that you add actual flow for this B13 present in this A2 to A11, that is the from range. So if you do that, see 18, the same 18 has come. Now the benefit is you can copy it here. If you copy it, it becomes 11. And what is 11? You see 7 and 4 is 11, which is the total flow from 4. In this way, you can write the sum if for 2 also. For example, if I want to achieve the total flow to node 3, then first of all the range will be the 2 range, make it fix by F4. Then B15, what is B15? Here there is the 3 number is there, B15, and then sum range. What is the sum range? Again the actual flow is the sum range, make it fix also. So if you do this, this will be 19. So what is 19? See, there are two cases here where the flow has been terminated to 3. One is 1 to 3, another is 4 to 3. Add them up and this will give you 12 plus 7 is equal to 19, which is already there if you have calculated this using SUMIF function. Now, so this is it. This is how the SUMIF function is used. If you don't want to use SUMIF function, then you have to calculate this manually. For example, you look at the node number and then sum it from here. Okay, I have flow from 2, so flow from 2 is these two entries, so I will sum 4 plus 14. Flow from 4, so I will search from in the from column 4 and 4, then I will add 7 plus 4. Flow to 3, so I will search in 2 column, and here is 3 and here is also 3, so I will add 12 plus 7, which is 19. This is another method. You can do this, but if you do this, the model you have developed will not be generalized. For example, if I change this particular diagram in little bit change or maybe more change, then your model cannot be used. Everything else will be changed. But if you use SUMIF function, to some extent you can generalize the model. So that is the benefit of SUMIF function. So now I am ending this here and going to the slides again, and hope you will successfully use the SUMIF functions in the actual problem, which we will discuss in the next videos. So this is the content of this video, and in the next video we'll discuss how to solve a shortest path problem using Excel and Solver. So that's it for now. Thanks for your time.